is there any data on what intelligent means for success in life?
Success in life, there is a tremendous amount of validity data that looked at intelligence test scores and various measures of life success. Now, of course, life success is a pretty broad topic, and not everybody agrees on, what success means. But there's general agreement on certain aspects of success that can be measured. Those,
including life expectancy, like you said.
Life expectancy. Now, there's life success. Life expectancy. That is such an interesting finding. But IQ scores are also correlated to things like income. Now, okay, so who thinks income means you're successful? That's not the point. The point is that income is one empirical measure in this culture that says something about your level of success. Now, you can define success in ways that have nothing to do with income. You can define success based on your evolutionary natural selection success. But for variables, and even that, by the way, is correlated to IQ in some studies. So, however you want to define success, IQ is important. It's not the only determinant. People get hung up on, well, what about personality? What about so-called emotional intelligence? Yes, all those things matter. The thing that matters empirically, the single thing that matters the most is your general ability, your general mental, intellectual ability, your reasoning ability. And the more complex your vocation, the more complex your job, the more G matters. G doesn't matter in a lot of occupations don't require complex thinking. And there are occupations like that, and G doesn't matter. Within an occupation, the G might not matter so much. So that if you look at all the professors at MIT and had a way to rank order them on, there's a ceiling effect is what I'm saying. That,
Also, when you get past a certain threshold, then there's impact on wealth, for example, or career success. However, that's defined in each individual discipline, but after a certain point, it doesn't matter.
Actually, it does matter in certain things. So, for example, there is a very classic study that was started at Johns Hopkins when I was a graduate student there. I actually worked on this study at the very beginning. It's the study of mathematically and scientifically precocious youth. And they gave junior high school students, age 11 and 12, the standard SAT math exam. And they found a very large number of students scored very high on this exam. Not a large number. I mean, they found many students when they cast the net to all of Baltimore. They found a number of students who scored as high on the SAT math when they were 12 years old as incoming Hopkins freshmen. And they said, gee, now this is interesting. What shall we do now? And on a case-by-case basis, they got some of those kids into their local community college math programs. Many of those kids went on to be very successful. And now there's a 50-year follow-up of those kids. And it turns out, these kids were in the top 1%. Okay, so everybody in this study is in the top 1%. If you take that group, that rarefied group, and divide them into quartiles, so that you have the top 25% of the top 1% and the bottom 25% of the top 1%, you can find on measurable variables of success, the top quartile does better than the bottom quartile in the top 1%. They have more patents, they have more publications, they have more tenure at universities. And this is based on you're dividing them based on their score at age 12.
I wonder how much interesting data is in the variability, in the differences. So, but that's really that's oh boy, that's very interesting. But it's also, I don't know, somehow painful. I don't know why it's so painful. That G factor is so determinant of even in the nuanced
Well,
top
this is
percent.
interesting that you find that painful. Do you find it painful that people with charisma are very can be very successful in life, even though having no other attributes other than they're famous and people like them? Do you find that painful?
Yes, if that charisma is untrainable. So one of the things, again, this is like I learned psychology from the Johnny Depp trial, but one of the things the psychologist, the personality psychologist, he can maybe speak to this because he had interest in this for a time, is she was saying that personality, technically speaking, is the thing that doesn't change over a lifetime. It's the thing I don't know if she was actually implying that you're born with it.
Well, it's a trait.
It's a trait.
It's a trait that's relatively stable over time. I think that's generally correct.
So to the degree your personality is stable over time, yes, that too is painful. Because what's not painful is the thing, if I'm fat and out of shape, I can exercise and, become healthier in that way. If my diet is a giant mess and that's resulting in some kind of conditions that my body is experiencing, I can fix that by having a better diet. That sort of my actions, my willed actions can make a change. If charisma is part of the personality, that's the part of the charisma that is part of the personality that is stable. Yeah, that's painful too. Because it's like, oh shit, I'm stuck with this.
Well, I mean, and this pretty much generalizes to every aspect of your being. This is who you are. You got to deal with it. And what it undermines, of course, is a realistic appreciation for this, undermines the fairly recent idea prevalent in this country that if you work hard, you can be anything you want to be, which has morphed from the original idea that if you work hard, you can be successful. Those are two different things.
Yeah.
And now we have, if you work hard, you can be anything you want to be. This is completely unrealistic. I'm sorry. It just is. Now, you can work hard and be successful. There's no question. But you know what? I could work very hard and I am not going to be a successful theoretical physicist. I'm just not.
That said, I mean, we should, because we had this conversation already, but it's good to repeat the fact that you're not going to be a theoretical physicist. It's not judgment on your basic humanity. Returning again to the all men, which means men and women are created equal. So again, some of the differences we're talking about in quote unquote success, wealth, number of whether you win a Nobel Prize or not, that doesn't put a measure on your basic humanity and basic value and even goodness of you as a human being. Because your basic role and value in society is largely within your control. It's some of these measures that we're talking about. It's good to remember this.